Hello and welcome back, grade 2 students. I hope you guys are enjoying my science videos. Today we're going to continue with Unit 5, Changes to Earth's Surface, Lesson 2, What Changes on Earth Happen Quickly, Part 5. For today, we're going to cover the following points. Lesson 2, What Changes on Earth Happen Quickly. Explore, Explain, Flood section, page 255 to 156. Are you ready? We open our books to page 255, Floods. Now, previously, we have studied about a few of the things that cause quick changes and that are quick changes that cause quick changes to Earth's surface, such as what? Such as the earthquakes, such as the volcanoes, such as the hurricanes, and today we're gonna learn about the floods. Okay? Floods. Look at the picture to explore how a flood changes Earth's surface. Let's take a minute to observe this picture carefully. What's happening? Excellent. We could observe that the water is soaking the whole area. So it was a dry land like the grass over here, and then a flood occurred and it soaked the whole area with water. So let's check. What is a flood and what causes a flood? Are you ready? A flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. A flood starts quickly, often with little warning. Rain may fill a river with extra water. When the river cannot hold any more, it overflows. That triggers a flood. A flood can knock down trees and wash away land. It can bury huge areas with mud or silt. When the water goes down, the land is changed. So I'm going to read it one more time, then I'm going to explain. A flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. A flood starts quickly, often with little warning. Rain may fill a river with extra water. When the river cannot hold any more, it overflows. That triggers a flood. A flood can knock down trees and wash away land. It can bury huge areas with mud or silt. When the water goes down, the land is changed. So they're telling us that the flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows. Overflows, that means it rises above the level of the river and covers the whole area around it, okay? Or soaks an area that usually dry. So you could try it at home. You could get a bowl and you could try this in a sink. It's very necessary to try it in a sink with the supervision of your mom or dad. So you get a bowl and then you fill it with water, and then after it's full, you keep on filling it with water and the water will overflow, okay, and it will fall off in this sink as well. Why? Because this is similar to what happens with a flood. The river, which is resembled by the bowl, is filled up with water and there's more water coming from the rain. So what happens? The water starts to overflow outside of the bowl and the water will overflow outside of the river and fill the whole area around it. Clear? So, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or sinks an area that is usually dry. So, usually this area doesn't have a lot of water. Okay, so what happened when a flood starts quickly with little warning? When it rains, listen up carefully, a river might be filled up to the maximum with water, and when it rains more, it will be filled with extra water. This extra water is something that the river cannot hold anymore, causing the water to overflow and soaking a whole area with water that is usually dry. Okay? Now we listen up carefully. When the river cannot hold anymore this water, it will overflow, which causes a flood. What is a flood? And we remember, what is a flood? A flood, it occurs when a huge amount of water overflows from the river or soaks an area that is usually dry. Clear? So far, so it covers a whole area with the water. So this triggers a flood. Clear so far? Now, they're telling us that a flood can knock down trees and wash away land. It can bury huge areas with mud or silt. When the water goes down, the land is changed. So they're telling us that when it rains a lot, Okay, the river cannot hold the water anymore. What happens? The water will overflow, causing a flood. Okay, and the flood, they're telling us what are the changes caused by a flood. It could knock down trees, take away the trees. It could wash away land. The whole soil will be carried away with the water from one place to another. It can bury huge amounts of mud or silt. Silt is a kind of sand or clay, okay? What would happen when the water goes down? The land will be completely changed. Clear so far? So let me explain it one more time. When a flood occurs, a huge amount of water will overflow or soak an area with water that is usually a dry area. Okay, now when a flood starts, it starts quickly and often with little warning, so you cannot know when a flood is going to happen. Rain, okay, may fill a river with extra water. When it fills it with extra water, the river cannot hold the water anymore. It will overflow and soak the whole area with water, causing a flood. Clear? Now they're telling us that how does the flood cause changes to Earth's surface? It can knock down trees. It means it could take away the trees. It could wash away an entire land. It could carry away with it the soil and move it from one place to another. It could bury huge areas with mud or silt. So this sand is gonna, or this soil is gonna be moved from one place to another. The other place is gonna be covered with mud or silt, okay? So the soil will change into mud. Why? Because it's mixed with water, okay? And then when the water goes down, the land is changed. So when they remove this water out, what will happen? They will discover that the land is changed completely. Okay? Clear? So far so good? Great. So what is a flood? See over here, the water. What did the water do? The water, excellent, it oversoaked a dry area that's usually dry. See, the cars are covered with the water because the water from the river overflew and caused a flood, and the whole area now is covered with water. See, even the houses are drowning in water. Clear? Causing a change to Earth's surface. Clear so far? How? Because the trees might be knocked down, the whole area is covered with water, and now the things over here will be carried away to other places. The soil is gonna be mixed with the water, changed into mud, and it will be carried away by the water to a new place. Okay, so it's washing away lands, and then when the water goes down, the land is changed. We will discover that the land is changed. So kindly we underline, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that's usually dry. Okay, again, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. A flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. Again, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. Again, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. Again, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. So soaks means it is covered all of it with water, all of it. So, oh my god, like over here, it's soaking, this area is soaking with water. Clear? So far, so good? Again, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. Again, a flood occurs when a huge amount of water overflows or soaks an area that is usually dry. Clear? When we say usually dry, it means it does not have any water, but when a flood occurs, it's covered. So over here, we don't have any river or any water near the houses, but then when a flood occurred, it soaked this road with the water, covering the cars, the trees, the houses, everything. Clear? And changing this land. Clear so far? Great. Exercise time. Let's wear our thinking caps on. On page 256. What takes place during a flood? Write 1, 2, 3 to show the correct order. So, first of all, we said that we would have a river, then it rains, and because it rains, the water level will rise, and Excellent. It will overflow and cause a change to Earth's surface or to the land. So which of these three pictures is number one? Excellent. It is the picture of the river because we could see a normal river. Then what happened? As it rained a lot, the river is being filled with extra water. Excellent. Number two. And this extra water, what happened is overflowing and soaking a dry area with water. See the land next to the river, now it's all filled with water. Clear? So we have a river, then it rains, the river gets extra water, it overflows. Okay, when it overflows, what happens? The water will soak the dry area next to the river with water. Clear? So when it overflows or when it is filled with extra water, it will cause a flood and the water will overflow and cover the area next to it with water or soak it with water. Clear so far? So it is 1, 2, 3. That's all. Thank you.